Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the general rules for assessment item creation, and I really want to put them in the context of whether they address a bias issue, a validity issue, a reliability issue. Now, as we said before, everything ultimately is a problem because it's a validity issue. But I want to just think about why do we have these rules and what kind of problem are they really trying to address. So, I've simplified Popham's directions, and if we think of the first one, right, don't be ambiguous in your directions. Basically, write clearly. Don't make things confusing. Make it straightforward. And that most directly is an inter-rater reliability problem, right? If we talk about inter-rater reliability, it is the ability of different raters to come to the same conclusion when they look at something. In this case, when you write directions, you want your students to view it the same way that you do. So clear directions is initially an inter-rater reliability issue, and of course that becomes a validity issue as well. He also has the same rule for really just questions themselves. So aside from the directions, make sure that the questions that you give them, especially when you go with essays, but multiple choice and other things, make sure that those are easily understood as well. Same issue here. Another one, no clues. We don't want to obviously have clues because that doesn't let us measure anything, and we think we're getting some kind of information about what students know, but really they just know how to fill in the underlined blank or identify the starred or the bolded term that you didn't mean to leave starred or bolded. So no clues is not a reliability issue, because if you give everyone clues, and we think about performance over time, right? Their performance will actually be more stable over time because no guessing is involved. They're going to get 100% every single time they take it. It is, however, a validity issue. A validity issue in the sense that you are not measuring what you're trying to measure, which is knowledge, but you are instead measuring a student's ability to detect clues and therefore the answer to the question. If we think of keeping the wording simple, don't get a little verbose in how you're describing things. Keep the syntax as simple as possible. Don't use double negatives, all that other stuff, right? Straightforward, easy to read, easy to understand, unless of course that's part of the task. When you think of this, there are a couple things there. One, it is related to the clear questions and clear directions rules, but more importantly, it is really testing students' reading ability where you're not really trying to test their reading ability. So this becomes a bias issue, which then of course becomes a validity issue as well. And when we go with keeping the vocab simple, right, we are going with the same thing. Oops, I misspelled validity there. And so you are not trying to assess your students' vocab, you are trying to assess their ability to answer the questions. Of course, if you are trying to measure vocab, well then it's not really an issue because that's what you're trying to measure. But in most cases we're not trying to measure specific word knowledge. What we are trying to measure is conceptual understanding and so on. And so we want to make sure that vocabulary does not become a problem going forward. So that's it for the 5 general rules. I'm also going to put up the matching, binary choice, and multiple choice rules as well.